Hello, welcome to this Eyes of Harmony First Thoughts podcast on the power of the Doctor. Is it? No, or just power of the Doctor, isn't it?
Power of.
Power.
I don't
Yeah,
know if
there's
there's
no
a
the.
the. No, there's no the. It's just power of the Doctor.
Just power of the Doctor. Just power of the
Just
Doctor. So
whatever powers are.
the big finale of not just the Chibnall era, but Jodie Whittaker and Mandip Gill has, as so yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess John Bishop as dad as well,
Well, yeah.
which
Yeah.
was so. I mean, there's so much to go through. I think let's just go chronologically. We're
Yeah.
just kind of just first thoughts, not too deep reviews, just how we felt as we went along. Yeah. So we start on the bullet train.
Yeah.
I
We
enjoyed
all
that
figured
scene.
it would. Yeah.
Just a
Yeah.
nice, nice action scene.
It was a good way to sort of immediately kick into gear, and
Mm.
and I'll say this a little bit throughout. I mean, I have issues, and I will go over them as we go along. But in terms of overall pacing, like this, I mean, given the increase of 90 minutes, it just felt a bit more like there was a through line, which is an issue which
Yeah.
I've had consistently throughout the era. And this Bullet Train is a good sort of first example of that. It felt like it was a decently, you had the time to breathe while also having that sort of consistent urgency, with the situation going on.
Yeah, exactly. And I felt like the action scene was good. The graphics looked good.
Yeah.
I like the cyber masters are an interesting idea. I quite like it. I think it's smart with using time lords. I know some people
Yeah.
didn't, but
I mean,
I thought the designs are nice and
it did make sense them being here. Certainly I wouldn't want to see it
yeah.
like being because that was sort of my
No.
worries that they would exclusively just gonna have those, but they had a mixture of different Cybermen. And
I
when we
think
got to Earth-
I think they killed them off with the whole part at the end. But
Yeah.
so Dan gets a culture shock basically. He gets really close to dying, and he kind of just has enough and yeets off. He's like, bye.
Yeah, basically.
Which
I'm sorry.
it's interesting because it's quite realistic in terms of like some people would do that, and it's quite different that someone's just like, whoa, that was too much for me. I'm done. This has actually helped me realize that I want my own life. I want to live. I don't want to always be living on this like edge of a knife kind of lifestyle. I still care about existing. He's clearly got, I think, Diane as well. Because he says I'm supposed to be going on a date. But yeah, it's kind of, if this had happened in a series and not a special, I think it would have been a really great way for a character just to go. But it really does, in this case, feel like, fuck, I need to get someone out the way so I can have more time for other people to come in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I mean, given all he's been through with Flux, it's kind of. I mean, I get what they were going for is that and he looks at the helmet and such. It's just like, fuck, that's
That was too close
that was
for me.
so close. Yeah, but it did feel like, yeah, just get him out the way. I see no reason why he couldn't have like left in Legend of the Sea Devils or something, given how sudden it was. But at the same time, I guess it was sort of like a
Well, Legend of
something
the Sea,
something
that was
built-
added in.
Yeah, true that.
So-
Although this was still filmed after, so they could have,
I suppose, yeah.
they could have changed
I
things
guess
around if needed.
maybe he was contracted for that one, so
Yeah.
and I guess it was already written at this point,
And it-
Centenary, and
And it was almost a shame in a way, given the way he exited. I mean, actually, it could have almost happened at the ending, but like
Yeah.
his exit was kind of, in some ways, I mean, different, but also kind of similar to Tegan's. So I mean, they didn't really follow through on the sort of parallels there, but yeah, I mean, it certainly was a way to start, but yeah, it did kind of feel like a way of let's just get him out.
Yeah. yeah. So story continues. They leave Dan, and then we meet Ace and Tegan again. They have a nice expo dump phone call, but
yeah, very much an expo dump phone call.
Yeah, I think the only thing that makes me not hate it as much is it's because it's them,
Yeah,
and I'm invested. If it was just some random characters, it's not great because it was very much, hey, 13 seismologists and 13 paintings have gone. Well, at least the Doctor, 40 decades for me, you know, like.
Hello, Tegan from 1986. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, Ace,
Ace.
who travelled with the Seventh Doctor between 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. It was a very
Yeah.
expo-y, dumpy,
And I
but
mean, you
it
know,
got better after that point
yeah,
for them, at least.
yeah.
It
I
it
mean,
improved.
I would say that they did kind of play very much a sup. Yeah, I mean, I just expect they'd kind of be a bit supplementary, but they weren't. In some ways, they kind of were, but at the same time, it's like they weren't. They didn't contribute as much to the plot as I kind of expected, given how much they'd kind of been pushed. I suppose they got some
Hmm.
cool scenes, definitely, and
Yeah,
sort of.
yeah,
And we'll go into a few more of them as we go along, of course. But you know.
yeah, yeah. So obviously the Master kind of shows up, and he you know, Sacha Dhawan was great. I love him as the
Oh yeah,
Master.
yeah.
I uh
Highlight.
I do hope he's maybe the one element that continues from this era. I know that probably
I think with the way it ends, like
Russell T Davies will change it, but you know, I would like kind of, it's sometimes nice to have that through line. That's something that just connects it to the past with, you know, like John Sim showing up in World Enough in Time and the
yeah,
Doctor Falls.
but
It's nice,
he wasn't
but yeah,
didn't continue as the master though. I
no,
mean,
no, no, no.
I mean, they could bring a master back
But
at
I
any
mean, they did
point.
it in the classic. You know, Anthony Ainley was the through line
Yeah,
between what,
he was consistent, but that was
fourth,
also
fifth, sixth,
within
seventh.
basically the same era.
Yeah, the John Nathan Turner
He
era.
didn't
Yeah,
pass over
that's
from
true.
John
That's
Nathan
true.
Turner to anybody else.
Yeah, it was a producer's era, wasn't it, rather than a doctor?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, interesting. I mean, yeah, I'd like him to carry on, but yeah, I
yeah.
thought he killed
But
it.
I'd
He
also
was
be up to
great.
see someone else. You know, again, I'm still waiting on
Yeah,
more of a less crazy, more suave master again. Like,
yeah, Delgado.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool to go back to that. I like that they've gone back to the Sky's roots
Yeah.
and the so
Yeah.
on.
And
Um,
I'd say in terms of Sasha Jawan's master, like what I really liked right off the bat was that they sort of brought back the hypnotism of
yeah,
the eyes. You know,
yeah, they're cool.
they brought back the matter compression ray beforehand, but they hadn't, and they'd done little elements of hypnosis. So of course, you know, in Sound of Drums there was the whole planetary hypnosis,
Yeah,
but they hadn't done the whole like, I am the master, and
and
you
you will
will
obey.
obey me. For like
Yeah,
yeah, basically since you know, I mean, I think Ainsley might. I don't remember.
I think he did at some point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but basically, they that's one element of the master which they sort of really, you know, reeled back, and I was happy to see that back as well as the master disguises.
yeah, it's nice to have that again, especially in the modern era. And yeah, he was, you know, introduced nicely. I thought the kid, just going back, the kid reveal on the train in the box was cool,
Mm,
but it was just this energy thing, and
yeah,
his sense of disguise and wanting to be protected was interesting, but I just never felt that really went anywhere.
yeah. I thought when it was a child, I thought that was going to be like another incarnation of the Doctor.
Timeless,
Yeah,
yeah,
a
timeless
previous
child.
incarnation,
That's what I
but
was thinking.
they dropped that plot point.
Yeah,
It's
they
entirely.
literally like they just do not care about the
They
timeless
did
child
not
after
mention it.
this.
I mean, I was shocked. I
Yeah,
really, it's like, why?
I
Like,
think because they just want the mystery. Like the you
mm,
can either care about it or not. And
mm,
in some ways, I respect that. You could kind of, it's something that you can leave in this era now. If you don't like it, you can just ignore it. But if you like it, you can also be like, oh yeah, there's that mystery that we never know where the Doctor's actually from, whether it actually is the Doctor, the Master lies, you know, all these things. There's lot. It's quite open to interpretation. In some ways, I'm glad that they didn't give us more answers because it almost solidifies it more in canon rather than being a bit more open to whatever. You know.
yeah, I guess I can see that. Although, I guess we've got so sort of built up on these ideas and had like even throughout Flux, like little bits built up and
Mm, mm.
what's her face, the Doctor's adopted mother and whatnot.
Yeah.
It just feels like even if we didn't, we didn't need to know all the answers. Nobody's, I'm certainly not asking for that, but like, it felt like just something that was introduced just to be something that would rile up fans rather than being something
Mm.
that actually was meaningful for the universe, especially given the way it's kind of now gone, you
I
know.
think maybe Chibnall felt that he he wrapped it up in a way that, because in the story it's that she accepts that well, it doesn't matter who I was before, it's who I am now, kind of thing. That's the thing that
Yeah,
she holds on to, you know.
I get that. I get that. But again, it just throws just all the time they spent on it, and all
Oh
these
yeah, I
little
mean,
things, you know.
I just think from his perspective, I think he felt like he'd done it. Whether the audience, I mean, he doesn't read what people put, so I mean, I guess he
No,
doesn't know. But
suppose.
but anyway,
Yeah. Anyway.
so let's talk about, I guess, the main villains, and that side of things, because I think that then leads nicely into the later bits. But so yeah, the Master and the Cybermen, that alliance makes sense.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
that
given
has
that
been established in this
the
era, and it's kind of a
Cybermen
continuum. Yeah.
literally haven't been without the Master in some way, shape, or form, I guess with the sort of
Since
exception of Via
closing time.
Diodati, but since
Closing time.
yeah,
Yeah.
well,
2011.
no, Nightmare in Silver.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Nightmare in
2013.
Silver. Yeah.
Bloody hell. I just like to forget that one exists.
Yeah, honestly,
Uh,
I mean,
it's not great. I watched it again
it's
recently.
not, but it had so much potential.
I know. It was a great idea,
Yeah.
executed poorly. But yeah. Yeah, the Dalek side of it just is the one part that really doesn't work for me.
They didn't need to
It's
be
like,
here.
so there's this traitor. I would have liked if they'd gone, oh yeah, we made that Dalek a traitor, like it was part of their deeper plan, rather than, oh, there's a traitor in the caps. Sorry.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
it would have been more cool.
Doctor Act shot, which is surprising given that we've already had like Rusty and
Yeah, a good Dalek, but I guess this wasn't a damaged Dalek, so maybe
I mean,
a
it
bit
kind of
different.
was. You saw the shell.
Yeah, yeah. It'd been through the battles. But yeah, it was just a bit like, I don't know how to do these. I think they could have just had Cybermen in the volcanoes and the Cybermen were doing their own thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was just sort of, it's a centenary. We need to,
Have Daleks,
throw
yeah.
all these recognizable elements in there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's the one bit which I was a bit like, not a fan
Yeah,
of. But
Daleks didn't need to be here. I mean,
they
I
didn't
guess
do
they
much.
tried to tie them in because they had it's the drilling. You remember from Daleks'
From
invasion of Earth? They
Yeah.
drilled things. That's
And they were gonna.
and it's the Daleks' master plan. See, we
Oh
actually
yeah, the
mentioned the title
master.
of the
Yeah, he
episode.
actually said that, which was quite funny.
Yeah, kind of.
The master's Dalek plan, or yeah, Dalek master plan. Like yeah, but yeah. So they were gonna just burn the planet because all the volcanoes were gonna erupt.
I mean,
or-
I was going to get into this, but the whole plan. I mean, it creates. And this is what I feel about the episode kind of as a whole. I mean, I guess we kind of get into it early, but a lot of it's very surface level. And a lot of it's like, you enjoy it in the moment enough, but then when you think back about it, it's like, wait, what was the point?
Yeah, that's I think. But I did.
But
Out
I think
of
that was
all of Chibnall's most recent, I've enjoyed this by far
yeah,
the
it's
most.
far better than Legend of the Sea Devils at the very least. I think
I had fun. I had a good time.
even
I wasn't
Daleks
coming
might
out
have
of it.
contributed more. It might have had more
I liked
substance.
Eve of the Daleks.
Yeah, I think it might have had more.
A lot.
But anyway, yeah.
More for reflection later on. But
Yeah.
in like my first impression, yeah. So Master's whole plan to regenerate the Doctor, and then obviously subsequently she gets degenerated,
Again,
which I think
whole
is
plan was
like his plan
baffling.
was weird, right? Couldn't he just go around as the Master and
Well,
say that he was the
I mean,
Doctor?
that's the thing. The people who it would matter for it to be would know that that is the Master's face, right? I mean,
Yeah,
like if the Master had basically taken over the Doctor's body and still had the Doctor's face, then you might have had like some thing of like, oh, you can trick the
mm,
populace. But no, like Unit knows at this point that that's the face of the Master. They know, and also
yeah,
where it's being broadcast to, and then like also what then happens just because he's messes up the name of the Doctor, but the universe then knows the face, so aren't the like all the powerful force in the universe then gonna go after you anyway?
yeah.
I mean, it's
I
like,
think I think the point that the way that he was trying to do it was the plan wasn't really about becoming the Doctor and ruining the image. That was more like I'm gonna dance on your grave. The main thing was more like I'm gonna take over your body, like he did in Keeper of Traken, right?
for what
That's what the
end?
Master does, just to eradicate the Doctor, to kill her by taking
You literally had the
her
Doctor
body.
strapped to a chair with a
Yeah, I guess different plan. The Master
like,
wants to try some different things. Forced regenerate. Well, he didn't have the technology before. He needed Gallifrey
yeah,
for the
but
forced regeneration, which is why he.
if there was even a prospect that it was reversible, like sure the first thing would have been to dismantle all the things that would actually.
Yeah, I think the Master's, a bit complacent. It's got. I mean, this is
I mean,
Chibnall.
it's only marginally makes more sense than the Castrovalva plan.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the Castrovalva plan's insane. So, I mean, it makes sense that the Master's just his plans are more for fun entertainment value for himself. I think he
I
likes these,
guess.
and to be honest, it's Chibnall.
But again, this is
It's
what I mean by it being surface
yeah,
level.
it
It,
is.
it was a vehicle for giving some cool scenes, and again, this is yeah, I agree with you. This has been like one of the episodes I've enjoyed probably most. In a lot of ways out
Mm,
of the era. It definitely lands on the good part of the scale, but how much of that is just because we're showing you either cool
mm.
things or hey, as a long-time fan, I know that
I
thing,
think it's
rather than it being a good
interesting.
episode of its own right.
My thoughts after the episode was this was a great centenary episode,
Hmm.
but it was only an okay regeneration
I
episode.
can agree. Yeah.
But let's talk about the cool centenary stuff because I've got to give it to Chibnall. What he did was great.
Hmm.
The vehicle to get to the point where the Doctor's having a conversation with her own consciousness
Yeah.
and seeing all the past older versions of the Doctor was
Well,
so cool.
1, 5, 6,
Or,
7,
or
8.
well, yeah, yeah. But
Most
do you
of the
know
doctors
what?
that weren't in the 50th,
Yeah,
minus
basically.
Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah, yeah. But man, it was having a David Bradley return. I had a feeling that maybe something like at least
Yeah.
if it continues into the 60th or something, I don't know. But I was thinking if it doesn't happen in 60th, maybe in this we will see some of the older
Hmm.
doctors show up. And yeah, the way he got it to work in the plot, it just makes so much sense
Smart.
that they look older and
Yeah.
you're not trying to have to hide these
Hmm.
things. And I love they were having like 7 and 8. It was almost like a multi-doctor moment where
Yeah, it
these
was. They
guys
were
are,
kind of bickering with each other.
I don't want to wear robes. It's my consciousness. I can wear what I like. Like it was just great, and
Yeah.
just the visual was cool. Just this kind of wasteland, just this telegraph pole with like,
Yeah. I mean, and that was the one interesting point is that they kind of start to sort of break down the process of regeneration, what actually is within the kind of the more
yeah,
spiritual aspects of that, and that was interesting. I mean, we didn't harp on it for very long, but like
I
being
kind of
there and
like
having
that.
that sort of
Yeah,
discussion and the cliff edge and such, that was cool. That was
yeah.
cool.
It was, I like that a lot. That was probably my favorite
Mm.
moment, and when they showed up later on,
Oh yeah.
because obviously, yeah, it was. I think it was smart having the Master see Ace and Tegan again, because like
Yeah.
he could rub it in their faces, and the Cybermen. It just kind
Well,
of makes
particularly in
sense, right?
Tegan's case, because again,
That
he
was a
killed her
great line.
aunt.
Yeah, yeah, he killed her aunt, and then also the whole bit where later on, obviously Peter Davison now in Doctor costume, which
Mm.
was dope. Talking about Adric and that scene was
Mm.
amazing. That actually made me swell up a little bit when he
Yeah.
just said, "What am I thinking right now?" And he just says Adric, and it was, where was Chibnall's writing like that for the rest of this? Like, that was so good. That
Well,
moment.
I mean, that was where it was gonna go, right? If you're bringing back Tegan and you're having Simon in there, like that's gonna come
Yeah,
up.
yeah, but I don't know. Like, this is the thing. I don't know what to expect in this
True,
era with
true.
Chibnall. Sometimes he writes some decent, good stuff,
Yeah,
and then other times not so much. So it's like, could he
and
miss that? He
yeah,
could have missed that perfect moment to
yeah.
do something like that.
And we also likewise we had this was seen with Ace. I mean,
Yeah,
we finally got like an explanation as to what happened. kind of at
but
the end there.
not enough to be a complete.
Yeah, it was sort of
This is what
open
happened.
ended. It was open
Yeah,
ended.
they argued and fell out. That could work with the whole he sent her off to Time Lord school like it was gonna be in like that
The
Ice Warrior
cancelled.
episode, the cancelled one.
Yeah,
It could have been that they argued and he pushed her away because that's kind of what happened in the plot a little bit. But yeah, so it was cool. Yeah, it was nice to see them, and like it was just nice for a centenary to have those guys come
yeah,
back and be the Doctor on screen again, especially Colin Baker and Paul McGann. More screen time for them is always, I love those two, and yeah, it was great just to see them and David Bradley again showing
yeah.
up. It's nice. Yeah, the Master in all the Doctor's clothes was cool as well. Nice
Yeah, the
mismatch
sort of
there.
mismatch. Yeah, yeah, that
It
was
was cool,
fun.
just trying to be all the Doctors at once, which was
Yeah,
very mastery. It made sense, kind of being this,
yeah.
yeah,
And
without being too forced.
I guess we haven't mentioned Yaz yet much at all. I guess, but she was sort of the
Because
main driving force here, I guess.
yeah, she almost saved the day in some ways. It was
Yeah.
much. It
Well,
was as much as Yaz's final
and
story
you
as it
see her
was.
growth. That whole year spent in the TARDIS, she finally knows how to actually control it, and that was
Yeah, and
actually
she had all her
pretty
post-it notes. Yeah,
satisfying.
and it was
Um,
nice that
I
bit.
don't know how
And
happy the
yeah,
Phasmin fans are going to be at the end of this,
yeah,
though.
completely like
They didn't mention. I
swept
mean,
under the
there was
rug.
some underlying things, but like.
But it's kind of mad, right? That it was sort of in Legend of the Sea Devils. It was like, I guess the Doctor kind of nipped it in the butt at that point. Like she kind of said it can't be. If it was anyone, it'd be you. But I can't. I can't get attached. I can't do this. And I guess Yaz just came to terms with that. It's like I prefer to keep you as a friend than lose you completely. And then yeah, so the Doctor, they kind of go about
Kind
save the day.
of. Yeah,
Graham shows up
yeah, but like, what was that? Like, what? That was just
and
out of no. Like,
yeah,
okay, like everybody else is sort of built up and established, but then Graham's just suddenly in a volcano.
I mean, he clearly been like going about working out,
Yeah,
what's
I mean,
going on and
I
stuff,
get
but
it, but
it was just out of nowhere, wasn't it?
it was literally the most random thing, and then like. And that was like right towards the end of the episode too. Like if it happened a bit earlier, we'd had some better
Yeah,
time with him. Okay, maybe I could accept that, but And actually, I thought initially when he popped up just like that, I was just gonna, I was like at the back of my head, oh, this is gonna be some sort of trick, or it's not really gonna be Graham, it's gonna be somebody else, or something, just given
no,
the random way he showed
it's as
up.
surface
It's
level as
just
that.
too convenient, but no, he was just there. He was just in the
Yeah,
volcano
just
for some
chilling,
reason.
vibing, yeah, by himself.
Yeah. Um.
Yeah, but yeah, I
It's nice.
guess.
It's nice to see Unity game briefly, although it's now been
Yep,
crumbled again because
yeah,
Chibnall really
he
hates
loves
Unit.
destroying unit. I mean, it was quite nice when Kate got to go in the TARDIS finally. But yeah, I thought you know, he was great seeing that he wrote Tegan really well. Janet Fielding played it great
Yeah,
after all this time. It was still that bossy Australian
yeah,
uh energy.
yeah.
But
Bit of resentment, which was sort of a nice
yeah,
contrast. I mean, it's the Ace who was, more like, oh, it's not nice to finally see you again. Tegan was just like, you
yeah,
forgot about me.
yeah. I like the Russian doll Cyberman idea, actually. That was
I was
very
quite,
cool.
it kind
That
of
opened up.
may remind me of the Genesis arc.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's
that was
basically, and that's
exact.
Time Lord technology, so
Yeah,
it makes sense. I think that's basically what he was trying to do.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Only with Cybermen instead of Daleks.
yeah,
Ashad was brought back for
no
reasons.
reason,
No, it
for
could have just been
just for publicity
It could have been any cyber
pictures.
leader or cyber
Yeah,
controller or anything, but
it was just for the publicity
it,
pictures.
it
He literally even had to write it in. I'm so glad I cloned you. Wink to the
wink,
camera,
wink.
because I know I completely killed him out of nowhere in the great finale, and he was such a cool guy, and then I killed him for no reason. Hey ho, it is what it is. But yeah. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
They managed to degenerate
Oh
the
yeah,
Doctor.
that was degenerate the Doctor for a little, so that Jodie could kind of get one last runabout. Oh, there's a whole planet thing, and the extra and Master's TARDIS and such, which, was kind of it was a cool idea. But again, it's just like all very surface levels. Yeah, you had the two timelines, but like, why specifically 1916? Why was he?
Just for Rasputin,
Why was he
really, I think.
Rasputin? Why?
Fun, I guess. I don't know. But, that's the Master, right? Like, why was he that guy in Time Flight? Because he could be. This is the thing. It's just...
Again, in Time Flight's case, it was just bad writing, and nobody likes Time Flight.
Yeah,
Why would you want to emulate Time Flight?
Because it's a gem, comrade. It's just you just need enough of 50 years, and people are gonna look back and go, Time Flight is the best Fifth Doctor story, with the best DVD cover as well. That amazing artwork. But yeah. So the way that Jodie's Doctor dies, interesting.
Not
choice.
what I was expecting. Like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it was just like turn the laser.
Yeah.
And you would have expected some sort of burn marks or something, but no.
No, it just energy, I suppose. But it was like energy that was like destroying the ground.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But then they also like had her sleeping for a long time.
Yeah.
But, like, you would have thought that if you didn't regenerate immediately, that would have given time to.
You would have regenerated in your sleep, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. It was a good visual of Yaz carrying the Doctor.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
kind of like, I mean, yep, that's the Master killing the Doctor again.
Yeah, true that.
He has that.
There are a lot of sort of, like, again, very surface level parallels to Doctor Falls in some ways. Just not nearly as good.
Yeah. So what I liked about this regeneration was that it was just all hopeful. There was.
We also had the meeting before that.
Yeah, that as well.
Yeah.
The
And we got to see Ian for the first time since 1964, right? 1960.
Yeah. London, 1965, isn't it?
Yeah. No. Yeah. No.
London,
They got brought
1965.
back to that. Although I think the episode was it? The chase wasn't that late.
Maybe it was end of 64. I don't know now.
Anyway.
But yes, we saw him again, and it was nice that he got a line as well.
Yeah, and
I like
Langford
that. I
as
liked
well.
Bonnie Langford, who is weirdly rumoured to be appearing in like Shooty's series. I mean, if she shows up on Earth, why not at this point?
Yeah, I mean,
it'd be interesting.
We saw Katie Manning again too.
Yes, Katie Manning was nice seeing Joe.
I was a little disappointed that we didn't see Annika Wills too. I think that would have been cool.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do the others, but I guess you don't too many and it starts to get too much.
And you do want to.
Yeah, Tossing Cole P didn't want to show up.
Yeah.
For anything. It was London 1965 at the chase.
Yeah,
it aired in 1965 as well.
Oh, did it? Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I never think it was. I guess they crammed in a lot in that last.
Yeah, because it was on for like 48 weeks of a year, really.
True that. Because like a lot happened between the chase. And
the
I guess it is
Master
only
Plan.
one and a bit seasons, so yeah.
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 But yeah, so who else was there? Yeah, it was mainly those guys, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and then Ace and Tegan.
beyond, Graham.
Yeah.
Dan, of course, showing up again.
Yeah, just to what it was wild that he just left at this like big moment. It was like, all right, I'm out, bye. But I guess they thought the adventure was kind of over at that point, so it kind of makes sense, I suppose. And then the Daleks showed up, and then they got called to unit. So I guess if Dan felt like there was more to the adventure, but they kidnapped a child, so it kind of was at that point. It's like, don't you want to help a kidnapped child, Dan? Do you not care about the kidnapped child? Sounds pretty shitty. Sounds pretty shitty to me, Dan.
Oh!
I've got a date.
I'm good at this.
Evil Dan returns for one last evil. It's the walkout.
What's the point of being alive?
Yeah, what's the point of being alive? That was it. And that's why he left. Maybe this was his turning point. Evil Dan was like, oh my god, I always died. Well, what's the point of being alive? Everything. But, yeah. So it was interesting. It was nice that they kind of had their goodbye, you know, looking at Earth. And
yeah, nice ice cream. Yeah.
It's nice that they did a different kind of companion leaving. Like, I don't want to see you change. So I'm gonna go.
Well, no, the Doctor was like, I want to be alone.
Well,
but,
that
like,
as
I think
well.
there was like it was kind
mutual
of
agreement.
Both ways. Yeah, an unspoken thing, which was nice. You know.
Yeah.
Like, again, that's like the one thing that had a bit of extra depth. Nah. Yeah, but no, that was effective. Like the whole sort of ending sequence was impressive. I mean, I guess that was the one element that they really, really needed to get right. I guess was closing out the era in a heartfelt and satisfying way, and that for that ending, that succeeded.
And then the regeneration,
which again,
was Durdle Door. That was where it was.
It was stand outdoors, and the
yeah.
regeneration effects were good. Finally,
different. They were different. They were nice.
They were good.
It was
finally,
great.
as opposed to the really thin, one of the last regeneration.
Yeah, Capaldi's one didn't look great, and the Matt Smith to Capaldi was shot on different days, so it was
instant,
just really quick.
Except for the whole fiery off the top of the tower, I guess.
Yeah, there was that bit. But like when it's a regeneration, you kind of want to see the face morph, like that's what you want. And while like Matt Smith to Capaldi was great because it caught everyone off guard, and now when I revisit it, I'm like, you know what, fair play. It really catches you.
It did.
It's great how like doosh and he's there, But yeah, Capaldi to Jodie was like, he was just so close on the eyes. It's like you want to see the face change. You want to see.
Yeah. Plus, again, the effects were weird. Like I said, it was a thin, long line of energy. Whereas this one was a full
It was
burst.
in slow motion, and it was slightly different graphics. There was difference in it. There was like kind of bits of red and nice lines. It was good. Oh, also we saw her face more from her to Sacha Dhawan as well, so that was cool.
We did, we did see that.
So that was cool. But yeah, so the clothes changed as well.
Well, I mean, I think that can mean a lot of things, really. Like potentially, again, there could be something else going on rather than it being a straight transition here.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what's happening. Is that's an indication that this isn't exactly what you think it is.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen it's like it's a regeneration sort of, but not quite. Like it's almost like something's projecting because it was kind of like it grew from like the chest, didn't it? It wasn't like, and I mean the thing is clothes have changed it before. The second Doctor.
I mean that was the only real example of that, but yeah.
But it's interesting, and so David Tennant is back as the Doctor. And they did introducing David Tennant as the Doctor in the credits, which was cool.
And he did the what? What?
Yeah.
What?
What?
And I couldn't help but grin. It's just like...
It's so good. I love that he did the teeth check, like the first thing he did in the Children in Need special.
His teeth?
What? Oh, man.
That made me happy.
Russell T Davies lines, they were written.
Yeah. Why has it just been that?
That was I mean, that's all he needed to write for us to be excited. 3 watts, and I know those teeth because it's like new teeth. That's weird, isn't it? And it's like I know these teeth. Like it's just wild, so cool. And then
That was it. And the fastest next time trailer I think we've
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like bam, bam, bam,
So
bam.
interesting stuff. Yeah. So obviously the next time trailer. Um oh, I enjoyed her final lines, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Tag you're it. Really nice. Very Jodie.
Hmm.
Yeah, I enjoyed that whole sequence, her going out and regenerating outside. Nice for once, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not like she was like crippling, dying. It's like
yeah.
I got hit
It
badly and
because like the last time we had an outer TARDIS regeneration was a pretty well. I mean, I guess Night of the Doctor, I
Night of the
suppose.
Doctor.
But
Yeah.
I guess if you want to count like
The TV movie.
main Doctors, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So they hadn't really done that in the new series beyond Night of the Doctor.
Yeah, the last one was, and then before that was the fourth Doctor.
Just Logoppa voice, yeah.
Mad.
I mean, but all of those were dramatic, you know.
Mm.
This was just like, I want to go to a quiet, nice place to
See the
regenerate.
sunset, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was nice lighting, and it matches the golden of thing, and yeah. So, before we talk about the next time trailer, just as a whole, I definitely enjoyed it. One of her strongest episodes of this era, and one of probably Christian's strongest scripts. I think it helped. He is a Whovian at heart, and I think every time he's written a classic monster, he's always got it more right than when he tried to do his own thing. I think he's good at emulating what Doctor Who's best bits, and those side of things. But I think when it came to those fresh new ideas, it never. Maybe I think he just was pushed for time, and you know, running a show like Doctor Who's massive. Not you're executive on everything, so the amount of sign off, and unless you work ridiculously crazy, like I think Russell T Davies did, which from reading his book was not healthy.
It's even more fit, given that he was also working on other shows as well.
Yeah, I don't know how he managed that.
He didn't really.
well, from stories is that they barely ever had a first draft really going into episodes, so they just were lucky that they kind of worked the episodes in the end. But it shows how good a writer he is, I guess, if the first draft works all right. But anyway, yeah, a solid finale for this era, at least, which I'm glad. I'm glad that it's gone out on a high. It felt like a good centenary. Regeneration was interesting. It was a bit like a last minute hit, but sometimes that's what it is, you know, like Lagogopoulos is like, it doesn't really feel like he just kind of falls at the end of a story. He stops the main thing and then he just gets killed at the end. It's kind of one of those things that it happens. You know, like the same Doctor walks out his TARDIS, gets shot.
I wouldn't fully agree with Tom Baker because they had the whole Watcher. Like it was.
Yeah, they had that.
It had the sense of
setup.
finality. It was building to something. You could feel it. You know. I guess.
Well, I'd say this had that same kind of building.
Yeah.
There was the predictions, but what I mean is the thing that actually kills the Doctor is kind of just a bit out of nowhere. But I mean, that's kind of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
It hits you. You can walk in the street, get hit by a car. But and it's interesting how I quite like that it's the thing that she found so beautiful ends up being the thing that killed her as well. You know, this beautiful thing of energy which she doesn't understand is, you know, almost too dangerous. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey-ho.
So for me, as I said, I did enjoy it. I don't know quite how highly I mean, I you know, as a fan, there was a lot of things in here for me to sink my teeth in, you know, and be like, ha, yeah, that's neat, that's cool, you know. There's some very deep cuts here, and as someone who's at this point almost watched everything there is to watch in terms of main Doctor Who, you know, it was in a lot of ways rewarding picking a lot of that out, but at the same time, as I said, you know, throughout this, it all seems a bit surface level. Like everything here is a vehicle to cool stuff and cool references, which, yeah, like for a centenary, that it makes sense. But at the same time, it's like you then question how much is actually, you know, there isn't a lot of depth here. There isn't a lot of like layers throughout most of this. As I said, the stuff with the Doctor and Yaz probably, and the regeneration, the whole like spiritual aspect of that being sort of built up, were like the two aspects which kind of felt like it had extra layers to it. But they were like brief, you know, in a way. I mean, well, of course, Yaz and the Doctor is kind of throughout the episode, but yeah, there's a lot of other stuff going on, and that's just like, isn't this cool? Isn't this neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? No, like even Ace and Tegan, like it's neat that they're here, and it's nice to they get like nice scenes and such. But again, it's all a bit again very surface level in a lot of ways. They're here because they want them to be here, which in itself is kind of cool. But I don't know how much that contributes to the story being better as a story.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah, I think.
I like it. Yeah, sorry. I like it, but
Yeah, I think there's a balance. Sometimes to have those fan pleasing moments, you have to kind of almost sacrifice a bit of story. I think going too far is like a No Way Home, where trying to like get all those things they do. Hey, look, all this cool stuff, and like the core heart of a story almost like kind of feels a bit empty. Like I think the more I think about No Way Home, the more I realize it has like not so much soul as like other Spider-Man movies have had. It kind of.
And in a way, I feel the same here. Maybe like. I don't know if I'd quite go that far with No Way Home, and I'm not sure if I'd quite go that far with this, but, like, in terms of the way you're describing it, it's kind of similar. But, like I said, as a fan, there's a lot to sort of smile about.
Yeah, exactly. They put a lot of effort into that side of it, but it's like then you kind of, because you're focusing so much on this stuff, the bit with the story and that kind of, the deeper parts end up lacking.
I don't think it's a great story, but, I liked it, but I liked it because I'm a fan, not because...
exactly. General watchers, it's not going to be grateful.
But if you were to sit me down and ask me to rank it probably wouldn't be like great. It wouldn't be bad by any means. It's like I said, there's a better through line here than most of Chibnall's era, and it felt like for once he actually did kind of stick the landing in terms of like actually fulfilling like a satisfying conclusion and finishing off some of the stuff which they built up and completely ignoring other bits beyond having the Roof Doctor appear briefly.
That was so random.
Well, I mean, they had the other doctors there, but like the explanation as to why she was there was sort of a bit flimsy.
Yeah. I mean, the memories are locked away in the TARDIS somewhere in that watch, which hasn't shown up since. But anyway, that's it. David Tennant's back. Doctor Who logo was different at the end of that trailer. It said returning in 2023. Whenever that is, who knows?
I didn't properly look at the logo. I don't think.
Oh, it's just the words Doctor Who, but it's like it's not the logo anymore. Like it's clearly like
it's going to be something else. I mean, I mean, I've been seeing things floating around claiming to be leaks, but I don't know how much of that to trust.
Yeah, I wouldn't really look too deep into those.
Yeah,
but
no, neither.
Lock and they'll be under lock and key. But
I know. There was one that looked like
the diamond shape of the Tom Baker.
And like if that's the case, I'll be very happy because that's actually probably my favourite logo in the whole series. Period.
Fair enough. I like the third Doctor one. That one.
That one's neat.
That text. I like that one. But yeah. So this is the first time we've seen kind of a Doctor in action in a trailer before seeing them on like in an episode. So Christopher Eccleston and probably Paul McGann are the two. And yeah, because we see Shooty in the trailer for 2 seconds, which is interesting.
Asking what the audience was asking.
yeah, what the hell is going on? And like, it's interesting. Like, he's definitely wearing David Tennant's jacket thing because the tie is the same tie that you kind of like. So, I mean, Shooty's shot scenes then, which is interesting, and David Tennant has the episode with the... Maybe it's the Celestial Toymaker. Maybe it's to do with him. Playing with the Doctor's mind and something like that. Like, how can Donna remember? Well, if a Celestial Toymaker, who's this kind of god being, can, play like puppets with people from the Doctor's past.
It wouldn't just be his mind, though, because of the teeth.
The body as well. But, it's something like the Celestial Toymaker managed to turn the Doctor invisible,
He did.
know.
Yeah, he did.
so you can clearly like do physical changes.
Being of
So
unlimited power, able to do
Yeah.
anything, he could possibly want.
yeah,
And then the cancelled story just sits about at the bottom of a carnival, kind of
Yeah.
not really doing anything. But that's
that's the Nightmare Fair.
yeah,
But yeah, like
not a great
so.
story.
Trailer looks cool. It's a lot of shots. Looks nice. Looks swanky. You know, nice graphics. It's crazy to see RTD written Doctor Who look so modern,
Well, I mean,
like,
I can't even
you know.
judge because everything just flashed by so fast.
So quick.
Like
I've
I
watched
could
it, like,
barely
7
process it.
times.
It was just like, there's something. It's crawling underneath. David's crawling underneath the thing, and there's TARDIS there, and oh no, there's Donna, and oh my goodness, and now Judy's confused.
Yep,
And
that was pretty it. The one thing I was disappointed about was no date for when it's coming, just
No.
23,
no,
which makes me not confident for a New Year's Day.
it's not going to be. No, I don't think so. I don't think.
I
so.
think- I think if it was going to be, they would have said, unless they shock us and they decide to go, hey, I mean, from now on, it's RTD2 era, So the marketing, he can do whatever he likes.
Yeah.
He can do whatever he likes at this point. Like, he didn't want to overshadow the centenary. Well, that's gone now.
Yeah.
So I'm getting
I
ready
mean, but
for
he did kind of did anyway.
I'm getting ready for a cascade because, well, I mean, the next issue of Doctor Who magazine at the end, it said, hey, this is going to be special. So we're like November 12th or something are coming out. So maybe new logo reveal, maybe all this stuff,
Maybe.
it's exciting times. But yeah, that's all I got to say. Those are my first thoughts.
And those were mine too.
Cool. Well, what did you guys think? Comment below to like the 5
Yeah.
people who watch us.
So sorry it's
There you
been
go.
so long. You
Is what it is.
Yeah.
Busy.
things-
Busy. I'm
things-
sure when the RTD era gets going, we'll be far more energized
Let's
for
hope
it as
so.
well.
Yeah.
It's nice to talk positive about stuff,
Yeah.
and so on. So
And
yeah.
I mean, we talked positive about this episode too.
we did, and we have the other ones, but it's been an era, and I'm sure we'll
It
reflect on
certainly
it.
has been. I mean,
It may be
yeah, if we get a
2
good
years.
moment, maybe we'll do like a proper reflection
Yeah,
video or something.
yeah, for sure. All right, that's it. See you guys next time
See you guys
when we
next
get
time.
something probably,
Yeah.
Yep.
Or that retrospective.
or a trailer, or that. All right,
Depending on
catch you
what
later,
comes
guys.
first. Yeah.
Bye.
Boy.